Welcome to the first edition of Top Flight. I'm Sharon Dahl from the Material Management Organization.
And I'm Ken Plake from Systems Engineering. Sharon and I are excited about introducing you to some of the people who have helped build AeroJet's Top Flight reputation.
We'll see how we're making propulsion division better, how continuous improvement is catching on all over the plant, and along the way we're going to have some fun.
Our first story is about what happens when you bring together people from different job areas, but with a common goal. In this case, the goal was to manufacture Titan combustion chambers in a more timely, cost-effective manner, while improving quality. A process team was asked to look at the manufacturing process in new ways.
Last spring we were called into a meeting and they felt that we could bring the chamber manufacturing into one building and into one area and not have to transport back and forth across the street.
The result was the creation of a cell, or common work area, in which most of the major work is performed.
If a problem arises, you can get it taken care of rather quickly, whereas before it may have delayed the process by a day or more.
So right now we're all close to combined together to where it's maybe a 5-minute, 2 minutes move, you know. So we have a tendency of cutting down on time as far as moving the chambers from station to station where they have to go.
We find now that talking among each other that we can do things that were not done before to make it easier for all of us.
It's nice being part of the team. You know, when it leaves, we want it right.
Let's travel to Line 5 now, where Aerojet chemists are hard at work creating a little solid propellant history. A3L was initially developed by renowned Aerojet scientists Adolf Oberth, Rolf Brunner, and Art Kazakian. These men won a Propulsion Division Technical Achievement Award for their work. We asked Art, what makes A3L so special?
Well, A3L is a new kind of propellant. It differs from the conventional propellant in that we have a liquid oxidizer instead of a usual solid granular oxidizer, and our binder is a solid granular material instead of a liquid material. Other ingredients are similar, of course, like aluminum and burning rate additives. And I guess one of the major features about A3L is different is that it does not cure by a chemical mechanism, it cures by a physical mechanism. The major thrust for working with A3L is that the propellant doesn't generate any hydrochloric acid when it burns. And right now there's a tremendous push by environmental people to get rid of propellants that generate hydrochloric acid, particularly for shuttle launches, because they're afraid of what it'll do to the ozone layer as well as the environment immediately surrounding the area where the rockets lift off. One of the characteristics of this propellant is that it's much harder to ignite than regular propellant. This propellant takes something on the order of 3 minutes in a kerosene fire to start burning, whereas our conventional ammonium perchlorate-based composite propellants ignite immediately. It's very resistant to spark ignition. We cannot ignite it with spark. We can't ignite it with friction. And impact sensitivity is takes about 2 to 3 times the impact to set this propellant off as it does a standard composite propellant. So this is serendipity. It turned out this way. The propellant just happened to have these characteristics and works in our favor, particularly for large boosters.
Art pointed out that this propellant is so revolutionary that its future development will require open minds as well as some unconventional manufacturing techniques. Sounds exciting, doesn't it, Ken?
Yes, it does. Wait, Sharon, did you hear something?
Oh, those are Aerojet turkeys, the wild turkeys that live here on the plant. Channel 31 recently did a story on how Aerojet is helping California Department of Fish and Game swap some of our birds for other animals. They will be used to reintroduce species into California wilderness areas.
You wouldn't think turkeys would have much in common with rocket scientists, but these wild gobblers are just some of the hundreds of fowl that call Aerojet home. The top-secret defense contractor actually doubles as a wildlife sanctuary. They say protecting wildlife like these turkeys is part of their environmental responsibility. It seems the turkeys are so comfortable in the 13,000-acre Aerojet base that they've become overpopulated. So Aerojet is hoping the California Department of Fish and Game will work out a trade with their Oregon counterparts.
Not only are we allowing these birds to be taken and starting new flocks throughout the state, we're allowing some of them to go into Oregon to be traded for elk, to reestablish some new elk herds in the state, to replenish elk herds that have died or been killed off over this last century.
This is the second year the program has been in operation. Last year, 100 fowl were traded to start new flocks. This year, the goal is 150. Officials say so far, the program is a big success.
We're told California is getting an even deal. 1 Oregon elk for every Aerojet turkey. That's a pretty fair trade.
At the end of January, the head of space programs for the Department of Defense and the Air Force visited Aerojet. General Gary Schnelzer talked to employees in the Titan assembly area. He had this to say about our role in the program's future.
We cannot afford a failure, or can't afford 1985 again. We gotta make our liftoff as advertised or within a reasonable amount of time and still maintain that high mission assurance. And we've got to reduce cost. That will increase demand and really breed the future, successful future of Titan.
Oh, here we go again. I can't believe this. Why do I have to get all these signatures just to okay the purchase of 3 boxes of number 2 pencils? It doesn't make sense. Fred, Sally, they don't have anything to do with pencils. I wish I could tell my boss, but he probably wants it this way. He doesn't care that I'm up to here in important work that I can't finish because I'm busy running around getting signatures that don't mean anything. He doesn't care.
Something wrong?
Well, yes. I was just thinking, maybe we could streamline this list of required signatures so that only those directly involved in the process would need to sign.
That list does look a little redundant and time-consuming. I never thought about it. I'm glad to see you take the initiative to ask about this.
Here's a familiar sight from the recent war. Patriot missiles intercepting Scuds and saving untold numbers of lives. Did you know that Aerojet is developing propulsion for highly advanced strategic interceptors? One system, the Advanced Liquid Axial Stage, recently underwent its first flight-weight hot fire test.
Before the test, I was a wreck. My stomach was pretty much in my throat.
The atmosphere in the control room was pretty tense.
Well, there was a great deal of anticipation. It was really a key test for us. It's not only a first for Aerojet, but a first for the industry as a whole. And the successful completion of that test enabled the rest of this program. So it leveraged a great deal of future business for us, and for not only for us, but for the country.
We were dealing with a set of hardware or technology that was in some cases more mature than any of us had ever seen. In fact, more mature than anybody in the world had ever seen.
I think the biggest challenge for this test program was the fact that we had to get the test right the first time because it is flight-weight hardware and there was only one test article.
You can simulate and you can try different things in calibrating and testing your equipment, but when it comes right down to it, you only get one shot at it. So it was an exciting moment.
No, I had no doubt that it was going to work.
Everything put together went as it was designed.
It was all new. I just enjoyed all of it.
After it was all over, I've never seen more people happier. Wow, we did it. It was successful. Everything worked great.
And now a top flight time capsule. A solid propulsion ICBM with a 5,000-mile range? Sounded like a tall order in the 1950s when solid rocketry could barely get off the ground. But in 1961, after a lot of hard work by Aerojet and others, the first Minuteman ICBM was successfully launched. Since then, Minuteman has had a long, distinguished career of service and still comprises the heart of America's intercontinental ballistic missile system.
As you know, Sharon, Aerojet is currently involved in the Minuteman remanufacture program. Stage 2 motors are brought here from the field, given a facelift, and returned to service. Actually, there's more to it than that. And in the next couple of months, we'll follow the journey of Aerojet's 1,000th Minuteman rehab motor through the remanufacturing process. We'll have that story for you on the next edition of Top Flight.
Well, that about does it for the first edition of Top Flight. The producers really want this to be everybody's program, so to help them stay in sync with the needs and ideas of all employees, they're forming the Top Flight Advisory Council. If you're interested in being considered for the council, or if you just want to give some feedback on this show, give Communications a call at extension 4904. Well, Ken, we got through this.
And it was a pleasure, Sharon. Look for Top Flight again next quarter. But for now, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.